Hey everyone, many of you heard my colleague Anastasia get us set up. I'm going to be starting in about 1 minute here.
Thank you, Brennan. Good morning. So again, for those who have just joined our webinar, Brennan is getting ready to start in the next minute or so. So please put in your information in the chat, your phone number, email, business name. If you don't want to share it with everybody, just send it privately to me, and we'll be doing a draw and a giveaway next week. And for those who have any questions at the end, we're going to be taking your questions. So if you don't want to forget it, just please put it in the chat.
All right, thanks Anastasia. All right, everybody, welcome. Before we begin, as she mentioned, put all your questions in the chat. Let us know where you're calling in from. We got Steve Gregory on the line again. Good to see you, Steve, from Australia. We got people from all over Canada, the United States, even broadcasting in other parts of the world as well. They're just not on the call right now. Always great to see familiar faces. Great to see some new ones as well. Thank you for joining us. Our goal for this webinar series is, as always, to bring a ton of value, help businesses through these challenging times. And really, this is what we do as a Google partner, as an online marketing agency. This is what we do day in and day out. And even though there's a pandemic, there's a worldwide crisis, doesn't change it. It actually helps us step up our game and really serve you as business owners and help you thrive during these times. I'll ask you to keep yourself muted if you can. I noticed a couple people were unmuted. I just put you back on mute. Just it helps, avoid distracting others. Take notes, and it would be good to have your undivided attention. Treat it like a real seminar, right? I know we're in front of these damn cameras all the time, and we're not, we don't have the connection that we used to have, but this is the next best thing. So take notes, undivided attention, and I'll introduce myself. So my name is Brennan Gowler. I'm your host. I've been hosting this for the past month or so, and I'll be starting us off today. My colleague, as you heard her speak a minute ago, her name is Anastasia Shade. She creates meaningful connections and relationships for our company here at Breeze Max Web. All right. So next week we have some exciting topics. We got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and we're going to talk a little bit about how to set up a financial plan during this pandemic. What do you need to look out for when you're doing this? Ashwin Kodamarti has been on the call for the last little while. He's going to give you a checklist, some really helpful tools, and I'm going to talk about a marketing plan. Wednesday, we'll be talking about how to get your business back to business, right? We've all been on hold, or some have adjusted their services and methods of serving their customers. So as we reopen in most parts of the world, here in Canada, we're actually starting to open up in many different provinces. What does that reopening strategy look like, right? What do you have in place? There's going to be social distancing and cleaning protocols. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. How do you collect all the customers that are needing services and products that you offer, right? How do you re-enter the marketplace? And how do you promote aggressively? You don't want to be laying back and just waiting for them to come to you. A lot of businesses are saying, well, I'm going to be busy in the first month because my customers haven't gotten a haircut, like myself. You can see I haven't had a haircut in a while, or whatever. Maybe you haven't, visited your gym, obviously, recently, right? So they're going to have a surge of traffic, but you don't want to rely on that. You can scoop up other customers from other even competitors that are going to your competitors. We're going to show you some examples of companies that are already doing this and others that are kind of sleeping behind the wheel. They're on autopilot. Thursday, we got the new normal, how businesses must operate in the upcoming years. What do you need to plan for so you don't have all your eggs in one basket and don't get caught off guard again, right? You don't want to be caught off guard like many of us were. A little bit about us. We've been around since 2005. We are all across North America. We started in Canada, US, and in Europe as well too. And we service companies on both sides of the border from the US to Canada. As a company and myself personally, I've been with the company since 2017. We've seen a lot of changes, right? And the marketing landscape has changed so much. Certainly, we're going through some more turbulent times right now. And Google also makes announcements all the time. So they're changing constantly how businesses can present themselves online. And we need to stay on top of that. Normally, we meet clients in person at our offices. We have offices all across Canada. But right now, we're diving into these webinars a little bit more. The biggest difference working with a Google partner like us is that we're local. So we have local representatives. We'll actually come in and meet with you face to face, which is really, really nice. We have a lot of clients that let us know that they really love that. They don't want to talk to someone over the phone. So you can do that with us. As a Google partner, right? As I mentioned, we're a Google partner. We take this responsibility very, very. We take it seriously. We don't take it lightly. When all this happened, we had to act swiftly, really, and reset and change our strategy. And one of the ways we did that was, you'll see on my screen here, we have these COVID-19 business support tools. And on the left, you'll see it's one of our clients that has a live chat on their website. This is another touch point for your customers so that they don't feel lost. They don't even have to call you. They can just reach out through live chat. On the right, you'll see a banner. Just helps, again, to let your customers know, what's going on. How have I changed my operations? Am I open? Am I not? Am I, doing curbside pickup? Am I doing video consults, right? What are you doing to support your clients so that they don't forget about you, right? Because don't assume that they know that you're in business still. Don't assume that they know you're even open. We've seen a lot of clients make this mistake. It allows you to reach out to them, the existing clientele, the existing book of business that you have, and also new clients as well. So we'll come back to these a little bit later. The topic today is how to create an amazing first impression, right? With your online presence, with your website specifically. And we're going to bring on Steve in a little bit after my portion here. Yesterday, we talked a little bit about how it's key to use the proper tool for the job, right? You wouldn't use a glass hammer to hammer a nail. I remember that joke years ago that someone said, "Hey, they told their staff, go grab the glass hammer. We need to fix something." It's like, of course, it's a joke, right? It's not, there's no such thing as a glass hammer. You wouldn't be using that for the job, right? There's different platforms that you can use for your website. And that's why I use that example. You need to use the right website platform for your business. And depending on the type of business, right? Whether you're an e-commerce site, whether you're you just have maybe a clinic, right? And you want to have information on there, maybe another platform is more suitable for you. Your website is pivotal to making or breaking the relationship with a new customer, right? You can see an individual on the left there. A lot of people around the world like him. I picked him because there's other political figures that are not too popular. I'm sure you know who I'm talking about. And so making an online first impression is much like how you would do it offline, right? When you meet someone, do you look down? Do you talk quietly? Do you not look at them? You look away, right? We've all met people like that. All right. I like to think that I give a pretty good first impression. For those of you who don't know me, you can be the judge on that. But rather, you want to smile, right? You want to give good eye contact. You want to be, if you're standing next to a friend and you're introducing that friend to an acquaintance, right? You wouldn't just not introduce them. You would introduce them. That is the same for your business, right? You're actually introducing potential new customers to all your happy customers and saying, hey, I've been in business for a while. I've been in business 10, 15 years. I'm good at what I do. This is my following, right? Same thing happens online, right? Also offline is your storefront. If you have a shop, is it hard to find? Is it not presentable? Is it dirty, right? There's no furniture in there, right? No one wants to do business with someone like that. You want to go into a business that has furniture, it's clean, it's bright. That is the same thing with your website. So we never ask you to spend, $50,000 to $200,000 on your website. There are a few companies that do that. They spend that much, but we ask you to spend a fraction of that on your website presence. It is equally, if not more important, especially during these times right now. Everyone is online. So you want to have a good online reputation, and a website is a big part of that. The consumer journey goes like this. We often describe it like this, right? We all Google things. You're a human being. Your customers are human beings. They do the same thing, right? We're making thousands of decisions every single day. Most of them are subtle and subconscious, right? We know when we don't trust a business or we don't feel inclined and pulled to call them. And this happens when we look up a business, we look at their map listing. Maybe we don't even find the map listing, right? But you can see on my screen there, our company map listing. This is one of them for out here in Western Canada where we are. And it actually has a really good reputation. We have a good reputation. And so we have, it highlights our track record. It highlights all the reviews that we have. This is a wave, right? This is a warm lead or referral that would search you up by name. They know your name, and you are introducing them to your company. You're saying, hey, I'm over here. How's it going, right? The next part of this, the logical next step would be they would click on your website or they would call you right away as well. And this is actually a handshake, right? This is a connection that you're making. Right now, we would be shaking anyone's hands, but maybe you tap them on the shoulder with your elbow, right? Same thing, it's a connection. And so they land on your website. Is it a firm handshake or is it sloppy, right? Is it loose, right? We all hate those types of loose handshakes, right? That is what you have to ask yourself. An example, right? Here's an actual example of a client, or sorry, it's not a client. It's a company called Milani Plumbing, right? They're huge out here, and they have over 50 trucks on the road, and they dominate the market. Why, right? Maybe you're not at that level yet. Maybe you are, but they own their online reputation, right? They have a good digital wave. They have a good handshake, and customers are pleased with their first impression. When you go to a business who doesn't have a website or one that does, and more importantly, has thousands of happy customers that can vouch for your business, right? It's a clear decision of who you're going to go to. You'll see they have an ad at the top there, at the very top of my, below the key phrase, you'll see Milani Plumbing, Heating, and AC taking care of all your needs. They've taken up that spot. If they didn't know about that product, they would, there would be a competitor down below there, Plumbing in Vancouver, that would actually show up first, right? Potentially losing that referral, that lead. So, and then on the right-hand side, there's a product, informational product that just lets them know, a little bit about their team. You can see their large staff that they have as well. Then when you scroll down, this is what you would see. You'd see multiple third-party review sites and other channels that highlight their work and do not allow the customer to pick anyone else, right? And then it also goes a step beyond that. They ensure that their website loads fast, their phone number is visible, and they recommend a path to you as a consumer when you click on their website, right? People don't want things now. We often say they want it right now, and as a business, you have to remove obstacles, right? If we are spending too much time on a website, we're not finding anything, we're gonna bounce off and we're gonna go to their competitor. You gotta ask yourself, as a business owner, ask yourself right now, if you visited your business website, does it make you feel comfortable doing business with this company? If you didn't own it, right? If you were a customer of yours, right? And so you have to ask yourself that. With this company, Milani Plumbing, it makes me feel comfortable with choosing them because they have a good track record. They have thousands of employees, not thousands, thousands of customers. They have multiple different, they have different platforms that they're leveraging. They have a great website. All of this comes together, right? So I'm just giving you a broad scope view of how this all works. Today Steve's going to dive into a little bit more about the actual website, good ones, bad ones. And that leads me to, at 13 minutes into the webinar, we're right on track, a little bit behind, but I'm going to introduce Steve Savetkovich. He's our online marketing expert, Senior Vice President at BreezeMax Web. Steve has been providing large enterprise clients and local businesses with successful marketing solutions for over a decade. He's had a notable career at Living Social, helping the company expand into Canada, and at Urban Spoon. Many of you are familiar with both of these platforms. They were very, very large at the time. Urban Spoon was later sold to OpenTable. Steve is our Vice President of Sales, Senior Vice President of Sales, and he brings a genuine intuition for marketing to the team, and he helps grow our clients and brings in new clients. So my pleasure to welcome in Mr. Steve the Stoic.
Hey, good. Thanks for that kind introduction, Brennan. Good afternoon, everybody. Really glad to see you all on the call today. And I'm very excited to be talking about some of what we would consider the basics of marketing, the basics of making a first impression with existing new customers, and as well as keeping that good first impression with existing customers. And it really starts, the same way that all of us start our journey when we're looking for a product or service. It starts nowadays with our internet connection and hopping onto Google to take a look at something. So, as Brendan mentioned, I've been with the company for over 10 years now. And in those 10 years, I have seen so many changes in Google. I've seen so many changes in how websites are built and how people interact with them. But I've never seen as many unprecedented changes in the scope of online marketing and websites as I have because of the coronavirus, because of COVID-19. It's sort of an exciting time for us here at BreezeMax Web, simply because we do get a chance to really make a name for ourselves and really interact with a lot of clients. Just to give you all a realistic idea of numbers, just over the last 8 weeks alone, the staff at BreezeMax Web has interacted with over 30,000, that's 30,000 different business owners across not just North America, but even into Australia, Europe, and Brazil as well. Luckily, we do have a few reps that speak Portuguese, so it was really exciting to see that we're having kind of a really positive effect in the marketplace. And with that positivity, I hope that you are all getting a good value out of these webinars that Brian and Anastasia have created on behalf of the company. So I hope to continue to see you here. As well, I see one person's very excited on the call, and I'd like to just take a moment to acknowledge Mr. Sam Harb is on the call, all the way from Burlington, Ontario. I've used Mr. Harb's plumbing services. My parents who live in Burlington have used Mr. Harb's plumbing services, and they've left him a glowing review on Google for those services. So thank you, Mr. Sam Harb. I'll like to acknowledge you a little later as well. So today's topic is making that good first digital impression onto Google, and then furthering that with a good digital handshake on your website. So Brennan, let's take a look at the first slide. This is a bad first impression. And I really apologize for anybody there working at Arctic Air Conditioning, but I think this is going to be a good wake-up call to our example of Arctic air conditioning. So right now the sun's coming out, it's a little bit warm, people are stuck at home, and a lot of us are going to need some air conditioning services. So it's a very relevant example right now. If I needed a new air conditioner, and I got a referral from a friend of mine who's used Arctic air conditioning, I'm going to type in Arctic air conditioning because I need to get that phone number. I need to book that appointment. The very first thing you're seeing here is giving me a little bit of a frowny face, everybody. I see an Arctic air conditioning Google business listing. There's no reviews on it, but it does say that there's missing information. So right there and then, I'm already kind of, my decision to 100% go with Arctic air conditioning, my decision to use that referral a friend gave me is already being questioned. And then, in heaven forbid, I scroll to the middle of the page and I see a couple of videos. And the titles of these videos are, is Arctic air conditioning worth buying? Arctic air conditioning review. Will this one work? So right away, my skepticism as what was going to be a 100% new customer of theirs is already being questioned. And if maybe it was just a bad guy on a bad day. So what about the actual product that Arctic air conditioning offers? And if I look all the way to the right side of that screen, I'm going to see 2.5 stars on their very first product at 72 reviews. I can confidently say at this point that I am not going to become a customer of Arctic air conditioning. So this is why you see the little graphical frowny face. That digital handshake, my first impression of them on Google, was a wet, limp, cold handshake that lasted way too long. Now, here's a smiley face. This is what we would call a good, positive first introduction to digital handshake. And, we're not skinny chefs here at BreezeMax Web. So, yes, Sam, absolutely, there is always room for improvement, no matter how good you are. And I would like to say that BreezeMax Web, as an online marketing agency, we should be doing things pretty well. So this example is actually one of us. And even with this great example, with this cool sunglasses smiley face guy, there's definitely some room for improvement on this listing as well. And let me show it to you. So the first thing you'll notice is when someone types in BreezeMax Web, our website is the very first thing that pops up. It's not about a review video that's come up. It's not about a third-party website that's come up talking about us. It's actually our website because we have taken a lot of care in making sure that we can inform clients about us, let them know our leadership team, like we like to introduce ourselves, but BreezeMax Web, about our history, the SEO that we offer, the Google advertising we offer, and our review services. And if I don't feel like clicking onto a website, maybe I'm on my mobile phone and I just want a nice, easy way to contact BreezeMax Web, I've got the Google business listing front and center, right on the right side of the page. It lets me know that 90 people have a 4.7-star opinion of us. Right there and then, a referral gets to see this. This is our first impression of that referral. And if I was that referral, I'd be feeling pretty darn good about contacting BreezeMax Web. So there you go. You got a frowny face and a smiley face. Brennan, what happens after the digital handshake? What's the next step of that?
The website, Steve.
Thanks for playing along, Brennan. So I've made it to a website. This website here is an appliance repair website from New Westminster. It's one of the suburbs around Vancouver. And right out of the gate, I'm not feeling too great about this site. This is a free website that was used and created by Google's website platform. Now, when it comes to using a website, a lot of us as business owners do kind of put these things on a back burner. You know, maybe I'm a phenomenal plumber, maybe I'm a phenomenal laser skin esthetician, maybe I'm a phenomenal business coaching consultant, but I'm not a phenomenal web designer. So because I don't have a ton of expertise in it, I don't really want to look stupid. I don't want to feel stupid. So I'm probably going to delegate that website to somebody who says they can handle it. And more importantly, I don't see the value in investing in it. So when I hear that Google has a free website platform, can you go back to that New West Appliance one, please? See that they have a free Google platform. I say, oh, free? Great, let's use the free one. But here's the problem. There's no logo. There's a bland text. There's not a lot of information. You get what you pay for, and free is worth every single penny, and you can see it in this website. Now if we scroll to the next kind of frowny face example website. Sardis Dental Center. Again, not a huge fan of this. When I think of someone in my mouth, I don't think of Brown. But also more importantly, it's just a very basic kind of template-based site. So again, another low-cost option, do-it-yourself option, which is very limited for sure. I don't know what other people think about them. I have to struggle through looking at all these buttons. And overall, this family is not my family. So I don't know why I would go to this dentist. It is leaving me with a relatively negative impression, especially if I'm searching around. But enough of that. Let's talk about a great first impression, the great digital handshake. Here's our smiley face, everybody. Diamonds for less. Now, when I go to this website, first and foremost, the thing that I see is I see that they have taken a moment to acknowledge that COVID-19 is a real thing. And right away, I subconsciously feel a lot better about talking to these people, simply because I know that they're a responsible business owner who's taken the time to update their site to make me, their potential new customer, feel safe about booking a virtual consultation. As well, if you look underneath our little smiley face friend, you'll see a Google rating button with 4.9-star reviews. What this also lets me know is that they're not only really interested in updating their content, updating their message to me, the potential customer, but that their customers have appreciated them so much, they were willing to leave a good, solid review. And they feature that right on their website. So again, to Brennan's point about that subconscious, warm, fuzzy feeling, this website has absolutely provided it to me. So I don't have to sit here and preach over and over again and beat that horse to death about how important a website is to make a good first impression on somebody. Because in my experience, I've heard a lot of business owners over the years say things like, you know what, I do a great job. My work speaks for itself. That is 100% correct. Doing a great job, your work will speak for itself. So please let that great work you've done speak to other people. You only have one mouth as a business owner. Your staff can only sing your praises so much. That portal of your website on the internet, that's going to be the thing that speaks highly to your work, like featuring your client reviews, your customer reviews right on there. Let that word of mouth go as far as possible to leave people that great impression, that great referral. I think that it kind of wraps up do we have another good example of a great website there, Brennan? Oh,
no,
famous...
but I have the example of using the wrong tool. There you go.
So whether it's a free website that you use because you want to do it yourself, whether it's a custom website through a WordPress platform, which we talked about yesterday on the webinar, the right tool for the right job. I really appreciate this image that Brennan has chosen to illustrate the point. You're not going to inflate that big tire with that little pump. So if you have a well-known business, if you have a business with a good reputation, if you're just starting out, but you have a great product or service and you want to get that message out there, make sure that you use the right tool to promote that right job. You don't want to wind up like this person here in the orange hard hat pumping up that construction truck with a little tire pump. Does that make sense? Well, I don't know why I'm asking that. Does it make sense, everybody? I hope that really gets that across. Yes, Mr. Harbaugh, I did have a chance to go onto your website earlier. And I love the fact that when I go onto your website, not only do I see 107 glowing reviews on Google when I first look you up, but when I go onto your website and I scroll down, it gives me a lot of information, for every single part of your business, and there's testimonials from Google built right into the footer of your website. I think it's a really smart tool. And the reason why this is so important, everybody, in the normal, the old normal, as we call it, 2019 and prior, that first impression of a website was always going to be important, was always going to be a difference maker. But now let's take an example like Sam Hard Plumbing, who's on the call with us today. When one of those plumbing contractors comes into my home and they are going to work with my plumbing, and I'm watching my money right now because of the pandemic. Maybe I have kids, maybe I have one of my elder parents living with me. I'm going to be extra conscientious about who I allow into my home. Based on the examples we've seen today, I'm not going to be letting Arctic air conditioning into my home, but I would definitely let Sam Hard Plumbing into my home with that number of reviews in the local area. Yeah, absolutely. We are waiving the fees for a lot of our COVID-19 ad support products to help do these things. And, and that's a really important thing you mentioned when we talk about the fees that are associated with some of these things. We do offer these as a public service, because if you have an image, if you have a message that you need to get out to your potential clients and customers right now, I think it's very, very important that Breezemax Web helps you all achieve that. So we are offering those COVID-19 awareness banners, live chats, and a few other services at absolutely no charge, with no contract and no obligation. So I really hope that these webinars and these products might be your first step into taking that journey into really building up your online presence to represent who you truly are as a business owner and the work that you've done. That's about it for my part today. Brennan, do you have anything else to add, or should we jump into some questions?
Just before we do that, Steve, I just wanted to, I'm just taking a look at Sam Hard Plumbing website here too. And it's like, you look at faucet replacement, you click on faucet services, very simple, very easy. It goes to your request service page, has a nice photo of his team there, guaranteed plumbing service, family owned and operated. And a nice little part here too at the top, I thought it was quite funny, is like turbo 23/7 service. So there's 1 hour of the day that they're not available. But it got a reaction out of me, right? And that's important. You want to get a reaction. You want to hold my attention on the website. And then as you scroll down, you got reviews, you got content, which Google loves to show you on the first page of Google. Some nice images. It's broken up nicely on the page. It scrolls good. So there's some good elements on this website.
Absolutely. It's a great website you got there, Sam. Like I said, I've had to purchase your services on behalf of my parents in Burlington, Ontario before. So I think it's thank you so much for coming on the call today. I hope I didn't embarrass you by bringing you into the subject matter so quickly. Thank you, Sam. We appreciate you as well.
Other questions, if we have any, actually, we'll pass it over to Anastasia. Let's do that.
We don't have any questions so far. So if anyone has a question, just please unmute yourself.
And while that's happening, just to kind of conclude everything, every on Tuesdays and Wednesdays and Thursdays when we do these webinars, for me, I know there's a ton of value just hearing, from all of you on the call, and Brennan and Anastasia bring a ton of value and really make us think about the steps we can be taking right now to be proactive. A good friend of mine, a karate instructor named Alex Atkinson, his karate studio's shut down, and when I speak with him, he tells me they're just gonna wait. They're just gonna wait. They're just gonna wait. And it really breaks my heart, because the last thing I would do in any situation is wait to let my fate be in the hands of a government or, questionable news media practices. So, I encourage all of you to use these webinars to get your creative juices flowing and think about what you can do to be proactive in these times. And you don't have to be Albert Einstein or Steve Jobs to come up with the next big thing. It can really start with some of those basics, and you have the time to flush out that website now. You have time to renovate that office. You have time to reach out with a survey to your existing customers. So there are a lot of options for you, and I look forward to hearing from each and every one of you and how we can individually help out your businesses and do a deep dive into the details of what you need and what we can do for you right now. Brennan, why don't you tell us a little bit about COVID-19 phase 2 and the things we'll be talking about Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday next week?
Yeah, for sure. So Tuesday, we got phase 2, setting up a financial and marketing plan during the pandemic. We got Ashwin Kodamarti coming back on. He has provided some amazing services and support in the last little while. Well, as long as he's been running his business, but he's been providing a lot of good content and information to help out business owners. So if you missed some of that, you can touch base with him directly. And Wednesday, we have phase 2, getting your business back to business, right? How to reopen, how to make up for the losses that some businesses have been going through. So getting back to business, what does that look like? With social distancing, with keeping the business clean, making sure your customers are comfortable entering into your brick and mortar location, let's say, entering onto your website as well, right? How do they navigate through your website? Thursday, phase 2, the new normal, how businesses must operate in the upcoming years. This is critical as well too, as we plan for the future here, the next 6 months, the next year, 2 years. So don't be caught, don't be hit blindsided by the next pandemic, if there is one, or whatever is going to come down the line. Set yourself up for success. Be proactive, like Steve says. And then I'll just show you a couple of the free tools. We've already mentioned these before.
Actually, before you go to those tools, Brennan, I just want to add one thing real quick. These webinars have been designed to help us not only survive and thrive during COVID-19, because obviously, our bills do not care about COVID-19. Our livelihood does not care about COVID-19. We have to, succeed in spite of these things. And I do not think there are any more important subjects than the ones that we're tackling next week. Because as the government's announced, the phase 1, 2, 3, 4, and possibly 5 in Ontario of reopening, as well as other places in Canada, the US, and around the world, having a proactive, good strategy and plan to follow is going to be really the most important part of getting through this whole thing. So I really hope to see you all next week. And as well, if you do know other business owners that could use a hand, these webinars are a free tool to get information to help you create and guide your businesses going into phase 2 right now. So please give it a share. Tag BreezeMax Web on it. We'd love to help out as many people as we can. That's what these are for. Thank you.
100%. You can still take advantage of the COVID-19 business support tools. You'll see them on the screen there. The $150 Google credit, it's an ad credit. A lot of free products right now, free services that Google is offering just to kind of help out. So touch base with us about that. We are the first to hear about that as well. And then also, as Anastasia mentioned, a website draw that we're taking all the names this week. You must give us your full name, your full business name, phone number, all that, and we will draw that next week if you don't have a website. So certainly, it's been great to have you all on today. We look forward to next week, as Steve mentioned. Very, very critical to set up a plan, to know where you're at once you open the doors, once you get more customers in your business right now. So join us next week, and we'll keep things open for the next couple minutes here. If you have a few more questions, if they trickle in, I'll be on the call. But thank you, Steve. Appreciate it. And thank you, Anastasia.
Thank you, Brennan. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, everyone.
I'm just still answering some questions here on the chat. So, so maybe just to keep it open a couple more minutes for me, Brennan. Okay, just want to make sure that everybody gets a chance to input their information. Yeah.
Just notice a couple business names on the chat there. Just please be aware that you need to provide your full, and you can do this privately to Anastasia or myself if you like, but full business name, full name of your name, and email and phone number, please. Please and thank you. Otherwise, it won't be entered into the draw. Thanks, guys.